tragedy is the food desert. The tragedy is the food desert in West Dayton. Recently, West Dayton has been classified as a food desert. A lot of us might not know what the term food desert means. We will allow Amaha Sellassie, the leader of the Gem City Market, to try and explain this concept to you all.
One of the backstories for Dayton is that because of the Kroger's closing, that 40,000 residents only have one primary grocery store. To get there, it takes 2 buses, right? You gotta take a bus downtown, you gotta take a bus up. So that's about 3 hours of a journey.
At the Gem City Market is a co-op, is that not
Yes,
correct?
it is.
Okay.
Community and worker-owned model.
Mhm.
So 65% of the ownership of the entire model will be by the people who work there.
Mhm.
Okay.
We are starting to get some products on the shelf. It's starting to get pretty full in here with pallets and products and a lot of national brands that you know are coming in. Some of you ranch lovers here. Some of the national brands that you know.
Greetings, Dayton. Welcome to another episode of Like It Is Dayton. I am Shenise Turner-Sloss. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So we have a couple of 2 local celebrities today with us. And so I'm very excited about today's show, as each and every show that we bring to you on a bi-weekly basis on the 2nd and 4th Thursday of each month. I want to give a shout out to Blaqsage Production for all of their hard work and going in partnership with us for this the show that we bring you. Again, very excited today. And so our first guest is Miss Kenya Baker. Come on in, Kenya.
Hi, hey.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. So I'm going to allow you, please, if you would, go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the work that you do, because we're going to dive right into it.
Okay. Well, my name is Kenya Baker. As you said, I am the Community Outreach Director for Co-op Dayton. Co-op Dayton is the nonprofit cooperative incubator, with our flagship project being the one and only Gem City Market, which we've dubbed the movement, because what that's done is it's spurred into now a community land trust unified power that we're working on, that will be an edifice built directly adjacent to the Gem City Market grocery store. So my work is really multifaceted in the community, but I enjoyed this work. I retired after teaching for almost 20 years in the public school sector, and now I am serving the community on a more broader scope in terms of eradicating food injustice and food inequity.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So our next guest we have joining us is Brother Amaha Sellassie. Come on in, brother.
What up? I don't got the cool intro like Kenya, but you know.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do it any disservice. You know, I'm gonna let you do this and definitely tell everyone a little bit about yourself. As I already stated, we have 2 of our local celebrities in the house. So again,
I love that. But yeah, good thing. Thankful to be here. Like I said, my name is Amaha Sellassie with Gem City Market. And I also teach sociology at Sinclair Community College as in the director for the Center for Applied Social Issues. And we've just been working and walking with the community, you know what I mean? And just loving to see the community come alive and get activated, because we believe that hope activates the gifts in the community. And it's just amazing to see like so many amazing things popping up in our region, you know, and so it just gives us the energy to keep moving, you know.
Absolutely. So I know, Kenya, you talked about it, and so you have as well, Brother Amaha. But if we can, for those who don't know, could you please tell us what a co-op is and what is the concept behind a co-op?
Right. So a traditional cooperative structure generally means community member ownership. And that ownership can be in different forms. There are several different hybrids of a cooperative, but in generally, you're dealing with a collective of community members who come together in order to establish a service or goods. And in our case, cooperative means Gem City Market
Yeah.
Food Co-op. So it's a grocery store. And a lot of people typically associate food cooperatives with organic, eclectic, highly selective items. However, our grocery store is really a unique multi-hybrid. We'll have worker owners as well as community owners with a 65-35 split. And we'll have typical retail big box items. So everything that you see at your regular grocery store, you'll find on our shelves. From Frank's Red Hot Sauce to I believe we had some shipments come in today of Hidden Valley Ranch.
All
So
right.
you'll find all of those products that you've come to love that are distributed on a national level in our cooperative that we have of 3,500 community members.
All
Plus.
right. Now that was my next question too. I wanted to know, but you already touched on it, about how many members do we actually have in the co-op to date, and we're still adding members. Is that correct? People still can have.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I would say I think we're closer to 36 now, something, and yeah, we'll always add members, right? Because the more members we have, the more engaged the community can be, and the more we can leverage those resources for the benefit of the community. So, like some places like Minnesota, some places in California, they have like 40,000 members. You know what I mean? So I think that's like part of the power of co-ops, right? Because co-ops, like Kenya said, co-ops emerge out of need, you know? And so like there's a need in the community, and instead of waiting for Superman and waiting for somebody else, the community is like, yo, what can we do together? Right? Like how can we leverage our gifts, talents, and resources towards changing our lived environment, towards meeting our needs ourselves? And co-ops are a great way because it shares the load, right? That we can get, you know, more things done. Like I say, like what many hands make light work. So it's like how we can come together and really, you know, advocate and advance into the community that we want to work, live, and play in.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Minnesota, and they have like 40,000 members that are part of the co-op itself. So there isn't a cap where you meet, saying, for instance, we reached 5,000, so now we want to move on to a next project or whatever. So you just want to continue to build and build and build. And then the ultimate goal is to what? Is this, I guess my ultimate question is this the new age or the new model of how we look at community and economic development and sustaining our communities?
I mean,
yeah, it's you know, like I'm gonna say yes, that it's new, but it's actually old. You know, it's just coming back to the way things have been done before, and even done other regions around the world. But yeah, I think especially for, you know, smaller to mid-sized cities, it's like how do we build solidarity economies, right? Like how do we flip the dollar within our local community before it goes out? You know what I mean? Especially in the African American community, but for the community at large, right? And so co-ops are a way, you know, like I think the beauty of co-ops is that like you see the gifts and talents in the community, and you build industry, you build businesses based upon the needs of the community, connecting to the assets and the gifts of the community, so that we're flipping the dollar. You know what I mean? So if I need something from Shenise, I get it from Shenise, and Shenise gets something from Kenya, gets something from Brother Steve, and we keep flipping it amongst ourselves, right? And in that way, we're building wealth that can be used for, you know, the benefit of our families and the community. So it's really a way to build power, leverage strength. And in Majagan, Spain, they used it as a model to totally, I would say, re-emerge the community. And now they're like a $1 billion industry that with multiple co-ops, right? So yeah, I do think co-ops are the future.
Absolutely.
And definitely not new. I concur with my brother. If you look at the late 1800s, you had W.E.B. Du Bois, you had Marcus Garvey. It was those ex-slave pension that came together, them coming together and developing those cooperatives where Black people were able to leverage their power in their community. What has happened since, I would say, integration, desegregation, is that Black people became dependent upon getting their goods and services from the best marketer. And because we came from a slave state, and a lot of those co-ops that were being developed in the late 1800s, early 1900s were destroyed by government legislation and rule that made them have to go out of business, whether it was things like mass mailers, and they got them for doing, solicitation. They had different ways of annihilating those cooperative movements. And so now we're re-emerging, understanding the power of collectivism and how to leverage our funds, as Amaha said, within our community and keep those dollars on this side of the river, in the case of West Dayton. And it definitely is something new, but it's not a new concept. It's just new to us. But I think now we are realizing we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
That's it. Yeah, it was pure survival. Like even how did you bury your dead? Like, I mean, like there used to be funeral co-ops, right? A mutual aid, like everything that, especially for the African American community, that we needed to do. Like they were almost all co-ops at one point because like we needed it to survive.
We couldn't get the bank loans that our white counterparts were able to get. We couldn't get that, government assistance a lot of times, and all we had was each other. So that's what you saw a lot of times, and that's what they were using in order to be able to source, the goods and services that a community needs. And now we see, because of the divestment historically and systemically in urban areas, especially highly dense Black populaces, that those resources have been withheld. Those opportunities, whether it's for small business loans, home equity loans, those opportunities have not been afforded. So what are we doing? We're forming these collectives so that collectively we can have a greater power to go in and be able to get dollars to be able to affect and leverage change.
Absolutely. So we had a question coming in from Jerry's 3 wife, and that they want to know how much is needed to buy in. So could you talk about that a little bit? And then, like I said, this conversation is very fluid. I have a couple of other questions that I want to pose. And again, could you answer that question? Jerry's 3 wife want to know.
So shares are $100, one-time share. Once you're a member, always a member. $100. You can break it up into $10 payments. If you're on any type of governmental assistance, then the membership is $10. Same type of membership, it's same everything, it's just a lower price, because the goal of the Gem City Market in particular is to make sure that we're increasing access to fresh fruits and vegetables in an area that has been disinvested. And we like to call food apartheid, because we know that food deserts are not a natural phenomenon. Talk about healthcare deserts, book deserts. So we say food apartheid to acknowledge the structural mechanism, but also to give us hope, because if it's structural, if it's man-made, then if it was a man's imagination, then we can reimagine it, right? And that's that we had the agency to make the change. And one thing I'll mention, inside the co-op, we have a teaching kitchen, we have a health clinic, and we have a community room, because our whole goal is to create like a third space, or like a cosmopolitan canopy, they'll say in some places, right? It's this notion of like how we can bring the community together to build the deeper relationships and everything that is needed to acknowledge our shared future, because we have a shared future already, but are we going to acknowledge it and then organize towards it, right? That we can truly just, be the community that we want to be.
Right. Absolutely. And to make sure that for the 3 Kings, they understand. Also, if you live in zip codes 45402.
Yes, thank you.
45402, 45405, 06, 16, 17, or 26, then you can obtain, probably for a very limited time, as I understand it.
It's already gone. That's why.
Is it too late?
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, that's why I didn't mention it. Yeah.
Okay. All
But
right.
he can get supporter shares. If you don't live in the community, you live outside the state of Ohio, then you can get a supporter share, which is $90. And that goes to subsidize that supporter, not the supporter share, but the not low income either, low priced
There you go.
member share, the $10 member share.
Excellent. So we talked about, we jumped right in, which we said that was in fact what we were going to do. Could you talk about like how the idea really started to take form in the city of Dayton? Let's take us back, because we've been going through this process for some time now, right? And so take us back a little bit to like how this ideal came about, how the powers, if you will, that were a part of the conversation decided that this is in fact something we want in the city of Dayton. And talk us through like the location. I want to know all about it. Okay. A lot of our viewers do as well.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna have to work together for that one, Amaha. But I want to just say her name. Erica Bruton was one of the first. We call her the mother of the market. Erica Bruton really was being cognizant of what was happening when she received the report through the opportunity maps, and the opportunity maps shared with everyone at large that there was a huge disparity between opportunity in areas that had high densities of African Americans and areas that had high densities of white Americans. And so because of that disparity, she began to convene focus groups. And those focus groups, Amaha was at the table. A lot of individuals that had organized from the John Crawford shooting was at the table, which brought a lot of white allies, as well as members of the Jewish community, members from the Muslim community. It was a very, very wide array of individuals that began to convene and talk about what would be the best issue to tackle first. And because food is something we all share in common, food came to the top. And Amaha often says how important it was for the entire cooperative to be co-constructed with community. So everything from the mission to the vision. Initially, we were going to look at the old Kroger's building on Gettysburg.
Okay.
But we didn't have the population density because of all of the foreclosures that had taken place in 08. We did not have the population density. There weren't enough people living there to be able to sustain a market. And so then we began to venture and look at other properties. We had a property that we were looking at for a while that was closer towards the bridge down in the Holt Street area. But after years, we weren't able to close on that. And so we wound up where we are now in the corner of Salem and Superior in that building. And as you all know, it was the McAllister Art Studio. We had that demolished. And now, as you can see through the time lapse camera video, that we built a market from the ground up, 15,000 square feet. And it has, as Amaha highlighted earlier, 3 extra third spaces. And actually, you could say 4 because Juanita Darton from Third Perk Cafe,
Juanita, yes.
Yeah, she will have a coffee house that's situated in front of the grocery store that'll have its own operating hours, own entrance. And so people will have access to that space. We also have a phenomenal play center, and it's a very interactive play center for children that was afforded to us by a grant that we received for play. And children will be able to interact with nutritious type of activities. And I believe we have like a hydro infused drawing on the ground where when it rains, then you can see like little informational tidbits about vegetation, and children can really interact with that play space that'll be in the front of the market. And also you'll have benches that adorn the front of the market where people can come and relax. And on the, I guess it would be considered the east side of the market, on the Superior side, please check out some boxes where we will have some local artists' work featured. During the first few months, you'll see all of the artwork that culminated over this process, whether it's Brittany Weaver's song about Gem City Market, or A. Slate's poem, or the children's artwork from Edison School that adorned the fence during construction.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I want to know too, like, how has the response been from the Salem Avenue Peace Corridor? Are they an intricate part of this movement, which you already touched on? A number of people are part of it, but I know for a fact, and I probably can say this with the most high confidence, that Salem Avenue Peace Corridor is probably jumping up and down of excitement just to really see something that is taking form with all of the work that they have done over the last, two decades. So
yeah, most definitely. The McAllister building was originally underneath the Salem Peace Corridor, and so we purchased the property from them to build. And two of the board members, at one point, two of the original board members were from the Salem Peace Corridor. So they've definitely been a broad supporter, and it's just been amazing seeing people come by and people, sharing their gifts and talents. And I think like one thing that that has amazed me about this whole project that I really want to bring up, we're talking about, like, it's all been about collaboration, right. Like if it was Learn to Earn, if it was catering, if it was Premier, if it was there's so many different organizations, like their fingerprint is on it, right? Because we've been highly participatory, right? That this truly was a co-creative space, and that means a lot, because in an area that's been disinvested, sometimes we lose hope, you know what I mean? And people come into the community and they make, they promise a lot and they deliver little, you know what I mean? And so it was important to us to really like walk with the community, you know what I mean? And build power with and not power over, right? That like, because to me, power is how we change our lived environment, right? And so like right now, like we have, over 3,000 members, and how we can continue to leverage that towards, impacting our and transforming our physical environment. But yeah, like all up and down, not only just, West Dayton, but with the region, we've had partnerships on state, federal, city levels, so it's truly been a collective effort.
Absolutely. So I kind of want to pull on that thread a little bit. And again, shout out to Erica Bruton and all of her commitment and hard work. But I remember a part of that, and she's one of the main reasons why we actually started Neighborhoods Over Politics. I remember it was some time ago when that study frame came out. I believe it was May 2014 or either 15. Yep. And those numbers, they were just like a reality, because as a former City of Dayton employee, these statistics are what we use on how we are arguing to receive the funding that we received in the City of Dayton. But to see it, it was just eye-opening. So my question is, what's next? Are we using that opportunity mapping as a framework to how we're going to tackle the issues in our community? Or is it, because I don't think it's something that we need to just have and throw away. Like, we need to really safeguard that information in the sense that this is our blueprint. These are the areas in which we know that we need to address. So what are your thoughts on that in terms of like our housing? Because I'm a big advocate for decent, affordable housing, because people can have a $400 apartment, but is it decent? Do they have, running water? Do they have screens in the windows? Or different things like that? So please, I want to know your perspectives on that.
I'm glad you asked that question, because as you know, we have been doing a lot of work around land trusts.
Yes.
We don't really realize how important land is. And we haven't really recognized the value in honoring the land. Not only the land to reside on, but even the prior inhabitants. Because we oftentimes talk about slavery, and we have to remember what was done to the Native Americans in terms of being pushed off of this land. So one of the things that was important to us as we were working through this project is conducting land acknowledgements and giving respect to those indigenous people that lived here before we did.
Yes.
And now, as we live here, recognizing that when we install a pillar into a community, then we actually build that community up for issues such as gentrification.
Right.
So it's critical that we make sure that we install mechanisms, and Gem City Market becomes more than just a market. Now it's a movement.
Right.
Our whole idea is to harness all of that collective power that's been generated and use it to drive affordable housing, to make sure that individuals are not pushed out because now they have their bank, then now they have their hospital, now they have their school, and the fourth piece was the grocery store. So what we don't want to happen is for people to not be able to afford to live in this city that their mother and their grandmother and their grandfather lived in, moved in, perhaps from the South, that they can stay and enjoy this burgeoning community that we're developing. So the Community Land Trust Unified Power is being instituted with community work. We've been galvanizing over the course of the last 2 years, community citizens, bringing them together, about 50 once a month. We have a General Assembly coming up April 22nd. I invite people to watch social media. You can visit us at We Are the Ones. And also, you can go to our website, www.coopdayton.org/unified power, learn about this movement, understand our power, and start utilizing it, because we have tools now. And I believe that that's more important than anything. What we can do by ourselves is minimal. What we can do together is limitless.
Yeah, and I think kind of building off what Kenny was talking about is so to me the we brought up W.E.B. Du Bois earlier, right? And so he said that the problem of 21st century, the problem of the color line, right? And what we found that the color line now has translated into the opportunity line, right? So that every area that's been redlined in America, right, has common features, right? The concentrated disinvestment, the disinvestment that creates concentrated advantage and concentrated disadvantage, right? And then out of that, you're 3 times less likely to have a grocery store, 3 times more likely to live in a food swamp. You have lower quality education, lower quality housing. You suffer from asthma. All these things are like the different ecological makeup that comes from the redlining. So to me, it's how to use these opportunity maps. They're not a new thing. It's not like, oh my goodness, our area is disinvested. But now we have the data to make a health case. Now we have the data to really press for these environments are inhumane. You know what I mean? And so what we can do to shift the narrative, but also for the community to see itself, what we can come and be together. Because I will press, and I will press for policy, this, that, and the other. But ultimately, look, I'm not waiting. It's like, what can we do, for ourselves and by ourselves? You know what I mean? That we really have community ownership, right? Which we haven't seen in a long time. We're we're dictating what happens in our neighborhoods.
Absolutely. And that's critical. I mean, people in Yellow Springs have saw it happen. It's almost impossible to afford to live in Yellow Springs. And we have to realize, too, who we are. West Dayton is a community where 35% of the population owns and 65% rents.
Yeah.
So we wonder why our streets have so many potholes, and we wonder why we can't get clean water in a lot of these urban cities. These are the reasons, because we need to leverage the power we have, getting out to vote, making sure that we install commissioners and mayors that really represent us and our plight, and support projects like Unified Power, and believe in these projects, because there are ways that we can work collectively to ensure that we control the land and the housing in a way where we're not displaced and basically outpriced out of our communities.
Absolutely. That was one of my next questions. So we have a couple of questions. We have a call that has come through. So do we want to go ahead and take that call now, Steve?
Yes, I'll go ahead. It's just a question, and I'll go ahead and read it off for you.
All right. Go ahead, please.
So the question is, it says, I got on late. I'm just reading the whole thing, but it says, I got on late, but how is the market planning to ensure safe distance and capacity during the first opening months?
I'm assuming it's safe distance as far as COVID.
Social distance.
So we're following all the protocols and guidelines. We have the hand washing centers over the alcohol centers throughout. There's been an established number as far as occupancy. I'm not quite sure what that is. So I don't want to say that. But we're going to have somebody at the front door. We're doing everything to make sure that we are, honoring everybody as far as COVID and making it a safe experience and a delightful destination experience, right? Because we really do feel that the market is not just a market; it's also a destination spot, right? And so we're going to ensure safety. And an enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
There's just one more question, and it says, how can the energy and vision that built Gem City Market be duplicated in other neighborhoods? I'm thinking about areas like the Near East Side.
Yeah. And I know that question's been posed for Trotwood as well. A lot of people are hinting around like, we want one in Trotwood, so please.
Yeah, Trotwood came a couple weeks ago and toured, and they're on their way. Like I think it's a two-pronged answer. If you're talking about a grocery store in particular, we feel that we've been blessed to have the capacity to know how to do this. When we first started, we had zero, grocery store experience amongst us, and so, but now, so we're a resource for the community, so if people on the East Side, people anywhere that want to explore building a grocery store, if it's a co-op or not a co-op, you know what I mean? Like either way, we're definitely willing to help and provide expertise and connect dots and resources and share our experience so that, what took us 5 steps, you can do in 3 steps, like whatever we can do to help where we're interested. But I think it starts from having someone within the community that's willing to walk it out. Absolutely. You know what I mean? That's willing to learn. We got a co-op development. If you're looking to do it on a co-op model, we got a co-op development class that's coming up pretty soon. I think probably maybe signed up for that. And so it's like, if people want to sign up for that would be great. And we'll walk them through like some of the basic steps, and then we'll give you a mentor to walk the process through. But any way that we can help, we're definitely 100% in.
Absolutely. So, I have always been a fan of the Gem City Market and the co-op model within itself. But I think is to me, it is, we oftentimes look at, we look forward to your point, Kenya, and you touched on this earlier, is that we look for others outside of our community. Even when you talk about opportunities, Brother Amaha, in terms of opportunity zones and how do we make sure that, in fact, that we are not displaced or that we're not victims of gentrification. But I wanted to know, too, is after we get rid of and we lose the new car smell, right? How do we make sure that we're keeping our market, we're keeping it whole, we're making sure that we're maintaining the sustainability, we're making sure that, in fact, we're keeping that pride in the area that it has now been created with the development of the market itself. So how do we make sure that we are, we're patronizing the market, but we're also being responsible stewards of the market?
Yeah, I think, like we talk about like being leaderful, so like the market's gonna be what we make it. Bottom line, you know what I mean? It's like it's here. How we want to activate it, how we want to occupy it, that is gonna be solely up to the collective, and so I think, after that, the new car smell wears off, it's going to be like how we continue to occupy space. I mean, like we got the community room, so you can have your organizing meetings in there. We got yoga classes. We got Children Hunger Alliance doing a feeding program out there 5 days a week. We got Tiffany Brown doing health and wellness out of the on Thursdays out of the clinic. We got all kind of opportunities inside the kitchen, right? All kind of programming, different ways. And so we're open to ideas, but we want people to know, like, this is your market. You don't gotta have membership to shop there. You know what I mean? And like how we occupy it and utilize it to build deeper relationships, to really be a stable space. Like there's a lot of emergence right now towards a anti-racist ecosystem. You know what I mean? So like within that, how do we have spaces that are all committed towards that and moving forward in that? So I think it's up to all of us, right, to respect the property, you know what I mean, to honor it, you know what I mean, and continue to grow and to continue to allow us to flourish, because our goal and our intention with, you know, Kenya mentioned how we tried at different spots, you know, and we needed in the beginning, we needed one solid space that we could then leverage that to build other. You know what I mean? So and at one point, for real, we almost, I remember at one point when all these first closed, we had serious conversations of trying to open 2 at one time. But it was like, you know what? I don't know, man. Like that might be too much, you know what I mean? So we didn't go for it, you know. But it's like we are definitely interested in developing more deeper in areas where they are needed. But we need to have a strong anchor to do that, right? And so, like, if you don't see something in the store that you're looking for, let us know, because we're gonna get it and we're gonna put it on the shelf. And if people gravitate towards it, that's great. It'll be a normal item. And if not, like, you know, my daughter wants Brags, and I don't know if Brags will make the long-term list or not, you know what I mean? But if not, you know what I mean, she can special order the Brags and it'll still be there. You know, and the one other thing I wanted to mention is that we have a dual pricing. We call it like a solidarity pricing. So one program is called Food for All. So anybody that's getting any type of governmental assistance, they'll get 10% off at the register. Wow. And then simultaneously, we got a roundup program. So if anybody, buy something that's $5.80. If you round up to $6, that 20 cents goes to subsidize the Food for All program. So it's like how communities come together to move our community together. You know what I mean, and build that shared future together.
So I have a couple of questions, and Sister Kenya, I really want to hear from you and get your thoughts on this. So, one, what has been the response from some of our other big box chain stores in the community, i.e. your Kroger's? We have very few, but they're still here. The Myers, have there been any conversation, or is there any solidarity or any collective partnership with these big box stores? Or,
you know, that's an interesting question, and I'm gonna take a stab at it, for lack of better words, and then I'm gonna see what our board president has to say.
All right.
But personally, in my own observations, I have seen a scale up in their marketing. I've seen a scale up in their customer friendliness, their focus on cleanliness. I've seen a scale up. It's like they know that competition is coming.
Yeah.
And they're taking some and making some very necessary changes. We've been very transparent about what we are bringing to the table with Gem City Market. And as we said, very community inclusive. So we haven't had a lot of closed door meetings. We generally have meetings with 300, 400 community members. So I'm sure they know about a lot of our plans and have made some adjustments for those. In terms of like direct communication, we have not really had a lot of that. I know that we did a little collaboration with regards to finding out like some major items that were oftentimes common purchases, and just to ensure that we're bringing that access, because at the end of the day, the grocery store market is a razor thin profit margin. It's not the business that you go into when you want to get rich.
Right.
It's service oriented business. It's about access, and we're talking about, as you see oftentimes in and on the PBS.
Your audio is going out for some reason.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can. It's a little distorted, but it's better now.
Okay.
It may have been your hand close to your mic. Or go ahead.
So as you see, like even on the frontline video, that oftentimes people are having a struggle with getting to the market.
Yeah.
So it's about food access at the end of the day. You know, I've picked.
Yeah, go ahead, please, because I have another question for you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, I've picked up people that have been standing at a bus stop with 20 bags of groceries.
Yeah.
You know, how's this person able to get to the grocery store? We've got our elder in the community, Mama Nozipo, catching the bus 2 and 3 times in one day just to get groceries for that month. So people don't have transportation to get to the grocery stores. And quite frankly, those grocers are not willing to build in the community. And those that have basically committed to a mass exodus.
Yeah.
You had Kroger's, you had Aldi's, you had Walmart, you had Kroger's on Need More. So it's been back to back. Then Food Town, they've left. Walmart, they've left. So when they leave, there's a gap there where people cannot get to groceries.
Grocery stores. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that I think is part of the reason for a co-op, is that because it's community owned, like we're not gonna just dip because of profits or this, that, and that. Like we the co-op isn't it's the purpose of it is to provide access to fresh fruits and vegetables, right? You know, Kroger's, you know, it's kind of interesting, right? Because they have like they've given us some guidance, and you know, I think I want to say they even provided food for our first first block party.
Community meeting.
Like, you know, they've you know, they've given us some wind underneath our wings. You know what I mean? So you know, it's a little bit about both, and I would say, you know, because they definitely have, you know, up their game. You know what I mean? Some too. So yeah, but yeah.
All right. So I want to ask this question, and then we're going to go ahead and take some questions from some of our viewers this evening. My question is, considering that everything that has the pandemic rather has taught us, are there any concerns with, to your point, like having access to those healthy, fresh food options? Is there any concerns? Because some people are, in fact, they're shifting away from in-person shopping and they're going more online. Do you have any concerns, or are there any plans or alternatives that the Gem City Market will offer?
Yeah, we in the front of our store, we have about 500 square feet, Maha.
Yeah.
That we were considering for a pop-up shop and had some different ideas that we bounced around. And ultimately, we decided to use it as a courier location for our curbside service, because a lot of people are, you know, basically bypassing the whole grocery store trip.
Right.
And so in those cases, we want to make sure that we can accommodate their needs, still give them, you know, that food that they need. And if that means boxing it up for them off the shelves and taking it out to their car, we want to be prepared to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's a both and, right? It's a great question, you know, and I'm thankful, you know, I'm not thankful for the pandemic in the least bit, right? But like our timing inside of it, you know, like if it would happen before, you know, we wouldn't have been able to make some nuanced changes to the future, right? So, and that standpoint, you know, the timing was good. Yeah. And I think it's a both and, right? So I think some are, you know, doing more online and things like that, and we want to be able to meet those needs. But at the same time, I think there's also this deeper, I was like, people are going back to records, you know what I mean? Like people are valuing deep connection too, right? And so that's why we talk about like this being a third space, because we understand that community transformation is from deep relationships, right? Like even like, you know, Kenny used to run the deep listening campaign where, you know, we would, you know, knock on the door, and if you talk for 10, 15 minutes, that was a win. That was not like, hey, you put lock on 5 doors in 10 minutes, whatever, you know what I mean? And so it's like how we can build the deep relationships and how community members can get to know each other across differences, right? Because that's what's going to be key to transform our community, the strength of our relationships, right? So we think that like we'll be a destination in spite of everything else, because people, you know, we're social by nature, you know what I mean? So we're going to still want to interact.
Absolutely. Well, I want to shout out real quick. I know we got a couple of calls, but speaking of Trotwood, thanks for viewing. We have the mayor of the city of Trotwood.
Hey, what's going on?
Donald, thank you for joining us. So go ahead, Brother Steve. We got a couple of comments, a couple of questions.
All right. Our first question is will there be a pharmacy inside the store?
As of right now, there isn't a pharmacy. There's some talk, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, about having some type of locker bins maybe sometime in the future. But we had explored the possibility a little bit. But no, we didn't go putting the pharmacy in there.
But what I would like to suggest that they go just around the corner into the right Dunbar area.
There you go. There you go.
Patronize Zeke's, because that is a Black-owned pharmacy in Right Dunbar. So please patronize Zeke's. If you have to get your pharmaceutical goods, please go over there. He would love to service you.
Yeah.
Right, and that's part of the reason why we didn't do it, because we didn't want to compete against Zeke's.
Absolutely.
All right. The next question is how can the energy and vision that built Gym City Mark? Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I just read that question. The next question is, speaking of the big box office stores, do you fear that any of them might try to eventually squeeze the co-op out?
Like I wish on some levels, right. It wouldn't happen for a couple reasons. The problem across the country is that they're leaving our communities. Like they're not coming in. You know what I mean? And so nah, that's not a concern at all. Actually, you know what I mean?
But
some levels, I mean, it might hurt us competition wise, but I think our community deserves some places like up in Centerville and Kettering, where they got 2 and 3, 4 grocery stores within a 1 mile radius. You know what I mean? So but yeah, like the likelihood of that is slim.
Okay.
All right.
Good question, though.
Is there or will there be some sort of program where elders who don't have transportation and don't use computers can call in and have groceries delivered?
Our members have actually been working on putting together a delivery service. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar or not, but through this COVID pandemic, 937 Delivers has been birthed. So there's been some talk about how we can utilize that service to get some groceries. To get some groceries delivered. So if you want restaurant food tonight, maybe something from down in the Oregon Street District, please look up 937 Delivers and get you some food delivered. But in terms of our elders, though, we want to make sure that our elders have everything that they need. And we also want to make sure that we're responding to community need. Right. So we'll have a consumer, like a customer service desk, where consumers can go and wage their concerns, call into the market, and let them know that that's a desire of yours. I mean, if we have 10, 15 people calling every week, we're going to make sure that that's a priority in our organizing structure.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but that's especially for elders, that's something that we've talked about. And while we're still working out delivery, even some teachers have floated the idea of being able to do some things for the elders and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that we're working on. And if people have ideas or are willing to volunteer, or just another truly the thing that about a co-op that it's taken us all a long time, it's gonna take us even longer. It's this is truly our market. It's not just our name. Like literally, it ain't gonna happen unless one of us do it. You know what I mean? So it's we gotta be all in.
It doesn't just sound good. We really are the ones we have been waiting for. And Amaha and I are both nation builders, as well as Shenise, and the Dayton Africana Elders Council. And so we would love to work on something, an agenda item where we deal with elders having the opportunity to get their groceries delivered to them. It really doesn't take much, to create a grocery list. This is what we all did for our families growing up. Grandma, won't you go get this from the store? And you go get it. So
cigarettes, right?
I don't know how they was letting us do that. 7 years old. But yeah, food is important. I mean, it's really about food for life, and we realize how important it is to eat, to live. So getting those groceries to the elders, it can be a high up item on our priority list.
Right.
But we just need to get that information from the community. Let us know.
We
I'm
have
really happy to hear about 937 deliver, because you're absolutely right. In our zip codes, there's not many times we don't get delivery over here. So
yeah.
And what happened was, Co-op Dayton, the incubator for the grocery store, we realized that cooperatives have like a broad spectrum of effect that it can impose on the community if properly implemented.
Right.
And so 937 Delivers is really fighting against this extractive system where people are working for DoorDash and different Uber Eats, and the drivers aren't making any money. So what's happened is you've had restaurant workers that were displaced during the coronavirus that have come together and collectively formed this cooperative, 937 Delivers, and are now delivering, getting a prevailing wage, and being able to take part in the governance of the entity they're working for. Oftentimes with business, you have profit over people.
Exactly.
But we're flipping that. So now we have people over profit. So the people are more important than the money that's being made. And the money that's being made is supporting the people and not demanding from the people only.
Absolutely. Shout out to 937 Deliver. We're going to get them on the show. We want to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple of questions that I want to make sure we get to. Go ahead, Brother Steve.
All right. Our question is, how will you ensure that the market will remain user-friendly to the poor people who live in the community, like food stamps?
Great question. So we're going to have, the EBT card. We're gonna have that. Matter of fact, on Tuesdays we have a thing called Moms at the Market, where we're doing. We got doulas, we got lactation services for new moms, and we're going to be able to sign up for WIC there too. We got produce perks. So it's a program for every $1 that you spend in produce, you get $1 in produce for free. Right. So like our mission is to make sure that we increase access, and we want everybody to feel welcome and that they belong. You know what I mean? Like that is like central to us. You know what I mean? That like everybody feels like this is their market.
Right.
And one other thing, that we got 3 different types of pricing, right? So we have everything from, those that have more limited income. We're going to have, generic brands. Then we're going to have the name brands that we saw in that video. Good job, Steve, because that was you did this guy. And we're going to have some organic things too, right? So we're going to be able to meet everybody where they're at, and we don't food shame anybody. You know what I mean? We're going to have teaching classes to learn how to cook and how to prepare different meals, but we want to meet everybody where we're at. We're 80% traditional, 20% more specialty items and things like that. We have 3 tiers for local, West Dayton local, Miami Valley local, and statewide local, to make sure that we're flipping the dollar, especially for the West Side.
All right.
Go ahead with that next question, Brother.
Yes.
Because I'm boiling full of questions on my own, so I want to make sure we answer the questions from our viewers.
Yes. From our mayor, are you concerned with getting and retaining employees?
I can't remember, greetings, Mayor, and I can't remember the number, but we had an overwhelming a lot of people that applied. So we're hoping that's not an issue. One thing that we're doing that is unique is that because we're a co-op that's also worker-owned, we're doing this thing called the Great Game of Business. So everybody that works there, no matter if you are bagging the groceries or you are the general manager, you're going to have access to all the data so that you can see like how your job impacts the bottom line. It's open books, right? And so we have good wages. The workers can unionize. And we're trying to just make it an environment where everybody belongs and everybody, feels like family, right? That like we're all in this together. So we think we got enough mechanisms in place to make sure that we're hiring a diverse group that can stay and take their skills when they go somewhere else, and other people can come in. That's our goal.
Absolutely. So it's interesting because I see we have another question that came in from, her ears must have been ringing because we were just giving her a shout out. So yeah, definitely. So she have a question. Go ahead, Brother Steve.
All right. Are there any initiatives to engage returning citizens with employment opportunities with the Gem City market?
Yeah. There's not initiatives per se as far as like we don't have programs yet, you know what I mean, but we do hire returning citizens. And we're interested. There's a couple different models that we've been exploring, you know what I mean, for returning citizens, but we haven't landed on anything yet for that.
Yeah.
Right. But if you know of any reentry citizens, I encourage you to reach out to Felons with a Future. Greg West has a great program where he is helping not students, but citizens to re-enter from incarceration.
Excellent. Yeah. Do we have any other questions, Brother Steve?
There was one other question, but I think that you might have answered it, but it was asking about being able to purchase groceries online.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So please, everyone wants to know the burning question.
When do we open?
When are we opening?
When are we opening? You know for sure that it's like weeks away. We actually started getting groceries this week. We got our POS system this week. So you are literally within weeks of a grand opening. We invite everybody to come out Saturday at 10. We're going to have some limited opportunities for some small tours. Also, we're going to be cleaning up around the market and just helping to germinate pride and awareness and community involvement in our community, and to really celebrate this monumental occasion.
Absolutely.
That's on the cusp of happening.
Yes.
On the cusp, yeah.
It's the pride in the city of Dayton. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Like I said, yeah, each day, you know, there's something else added, like you said, the POS system and different things. And, you know, we are between like 90 and 95% of our hiring. And the ones that we haven't hired is more because, you know, we want to time them closer to when we open. And so like everything is right on the cusp, you know, so yeah.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions that we have, Brother Steve?
We do have one. Do you all ship to VA?
You know who that is.
For you, we definitely will, right? So yeah, you know what I mean. And I want to give a shout out to Jamie and
yes,
because they are the nonprofit
LaDon Turner.
LaDon, yes, that is managing our teaching kitchen, community room, and health clinic. You know, so I want to give to them as well.
Yeah.
You know,
is she?
No, I'm just joking. We got the maiden name thing going on. So
this I think what's amazing me most about this whole project is how like we had this tiny little idea and people kept adding pieces to it. I can't remember the number of partners. We had a meeting today, and you know, we have a lot of partners. Like we went through the list today, and like I think we added like 7 or 8 this past month. You know what I mean? And there's a couple more in the pipeline. You know what I mean? So we really want to be a hub, like almost like a beehive. You know what I mean? Where things are coming in and out. You know what I mean? We're building deeper community. We're building deeper relationships. We're organizing. Right? We're building power. You know, and at the same time, you know what I mean? Becoming healthier and meeting our food needs as well.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting that you said that, because throughout this journey, and to your point, like COVID, you know, is not the ideal situation that any of us will want to be in. But what it has done is, I believe over the past 4 years, and even in the summer of protests, there's a new energy in the city of Dayton. I remember taking some time ago, you know, back in 14 and 15, you will always say this, Brother Amaha, you will say the ground is boiling, there's energy. And I'm like, well, when is it going to spill over? When is it going to come? And I honestly believe that we're there. People are giving voice to those issues. They're not waiting on Superman, Superwoman, a politician. You know, they're not waiting on anyone. They're getting out They're doing the work. They're rolling up their sleeves. So I'm very excited about it. And I will just say this, and I want to definitely hit your point, Kenya. When I first toured the market, which was a couple weeks ago, may have even been last month, but it was like, look, I get so excited about anything new or, but it was just like, wow, this is real. This is so real. And I was like a kid in the candy store going through the aisles, like, oh my goodness, I can't wait. And this is where Third Perk is going to be located. And again, so I encourage everyone, please, just drive by. If nothing else, if you can't make it out to the tour, the limited tour on Saturday, which is the 10th of April. We were on also, again, look, you hear me? We.
Hey, it is we.
Yeah, that's the language.
Exactly, right? But
we speak French.
But it just brings a new life and a rebirth of energy for that whole corridor. And so when I went on the tour, I was like, okay, what are we gonna do next? When are we going across the street?
Come on now. Yeah, exactly.
It's exciting, and I really appreciate all the work and the commitment. And we have to shout out Leela Klein. We definitely have to give her a shout out for all the work that she's doing. Our new general manager for the work that she's doing.
Yes, Leah, shout out.
Leah. Yes. Shout out, Leah.
Yes. So please, Kenya, I know you wanted to make a point.
I just want people to understand that when you dream big, you get reality. You have a manifestation of your destiny. And if you believe in the cooperative model and you see Gem City Market as a revelation of what really can happen when people work together, you're interested in delving into the cooperative model, perhaps you have a business idea and a group of individuals that could join you, visit the website www.coopdayton.org and learn about our incubator where you can form your own cooperative and put that in your community wherever you would like it to be located and be able to instill more pride, more hope, and help us to create more than just a market. We want a movement.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting that I remember at the groundbreaking where, we had just started construction and this, that, and other, like the hope in the air at that time, like you could cut it with a knife. Right. And that's what it takes. Cause to me, I've really been trying to understand like how we leverage the gifts and talents in the community. And it's by hope, right? Because hope gives us the certainty knowing that we have the power to do it. And that's how we put our gifts to the center, right? We offer, because, Shanice's gifts are not for her, it's for me and it's for everybody else in the community. You know what I mean? And so it's like, how do we leverage that? And the thing that you mentioned, Shanice, that I really want to touch upon is that we got to recognize a moment when a moment is here. Like stuff's been building for all these years and now it's wide open. You know what I mean? Like the city and the county has passed racism as a public health issue, right? It's like the ground has been tilled, it's ready. We standing on our elders, we standing on the promises and work with the elders, right? And now is that time for this harvest, right? And so it's like this moment, we got to occupy this space, you know what I mean? Move past fear and just press towards the promise.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Amen. Ashe. Yes, definitely. Thank you. So it has been a pleasure. Like I said, this conversation was very fluid. I am very proud of you both. I'm proud of the work that you're doing. I'm proud of, you're taking that leadership and your commitment. And I know it's a strain on your personal lives and your families, but again, if no one else tell you, which I know you get a lot of accolades and praise from the community, but I want you to know from me, I really appreciate you all and the work that you're doing. And I'm ready for the next venture. Let's go.
Come on now.
All right.
That's real.
Thank you for this opportunity, Shenise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and thank you for the amazing work you're doing in the community too. And like this, we are the ones we're waiting for. It's so real that like nobody can do this together. I mean, separate. You know what I mean? Like it's only possible together. And so like sometimes you see a couple people that might be out more in front, but trust me, Kareem, right? There's so many people in the background that are holding this thing down.
Yeah.
And so every movement, right?
Everybody,
that's a movement.
Civil rights movement. Look at the movement. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So should people check out their website, or how can they can get in contact with? There is more questions that may come above that they may
Yes.
on.
Yes, definitely. If you're interested in anything about the grocery store, whether it's membership, whether it's board governance, maybe you want to go and find out about our events and activities, visit www.gemcitymarket.com. That's GEM, because you all are jewels, gemcitymarket.com. And if you care about Black land sovereignty, you want to know more about the community land trust model and what we're going to be building right next to the grocery store adjacent in that next parcel, please visit Unified Power, www.coopdayton.org/unified power. There it is on the screen right there below me.
Thank you, Sister Kenya. Brother Amaha, did you have any last words?
No, I'm just, just thankful, and shout out to Erica, checking out from Virginia. And I also want to say this thank you, because like the outpouring from the community has been overwhelming, and it's been humbling. And also this gives me more zeal. Like my faith is like, I've never been here before. It's like I'm just like fully persuaded that another world is possible. And I just keep pressing,
Yeah.
I really am sometimes sad about the amount of litter and the amount of hope in our community, but just having that grocery store go up and knowing that those doors are going to open to service the community, it restores and renews my belief that we can transform this city that we live in. We can restore hope, we can help the downtrodden, and we can uplift the oppressed. I believe anything is possible now.
Come on, Swahili.
Absolutely. Right. So one of the
Can I get an amen?
Amen. One of the things that we say on the trail is like, we honestly say that it's time to put the people back in the Gem City. So
yes,
we're definitely on there. And Sister Sharon, I see your comment, and yes, we that's what our next venture is, brother. So yeah, we're working on that. Again, I appreciate everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please make sure you check us out for our next segment of Like It Is Dayton, the second and fourth Thursday of each and every month. And we're going to keep bringing you new, fresh ideas and guests to talk about different issues in the city of Dayton, in the county, and the state of Ohio, and just life. So if you have any ideas of some different topics or guests that you would like to be on the show, then drop us a line. As always, I want to give a shout out to Blaqsage Production. Thank you, Brother Steve, and all the great work.
Man, amazing, Steve. You just keep going from level to level, man.
Yes, definitely. So before we head out, please stay tuned and check out Mariah J's video. I think we're going to roll that, right, Brother Steve?
Cool.
Yes, a local artist in the area. Check her out. Again, as always, peace and love. Thank you, Dayton. We really appreciate you all. Take care, everybody.
We don't have our video right now set. Just your campaign ad. Yes.
Okay. Well, we will play that in replace. But then next week, the week after next, we got to make sure we play Mariah J's video.
And can I ask that, if there's any other local artists that are in the area that would love for us to give them some play, contact us.
Thank you.
Love that.
Slay got a video out too. We need to play her video. All right. Thank you, Dayton. Take care, everyone. Peace.
It's hard to look at Dayton and not see it. Some say it's the river. Some say it's the color of your skin. And others measure it in dollars. There are those in power, and there are the rest of us fighting to be heard. To see it isn't hard. You look downtown, pristinely swept, new housing and development being built with subsidies of our tax dollars. Then you drive around in neighborhoods on the other side of the river and look at the missing windows, the burnt out shells, the unkept grass, the pothole streets, the lack of shops, the lack of services, the lack of safety, the lack of opportunity. The divide is real. When the house next to yours burns, it stays. That's why I chose to run, to put neighborhoods over politics, to work for the people who have been passed by. the one whose voices aren't heard. No matter how many times we say we have had enough, the divide is wide. It's been growing wider, deeper. This time, it's your turn to cross the divide, to move Dayton forward, to becoming a stronger, vibrant city that works for all, where there are services, opportunity, and safety that we all deserve. When you choose your next Dayton City Commissioner, it's time to choose one that's going to work for you, for the people, to cross the divide and to heal our city. I'm Shenise Turner-Sloss, and it will be an honor to serve as your next Dayton City Commissioner.
Thank you for tuning in to another Blaqsage production. Please like this video, share it with friends, family, and associates. Drop a comment in the section below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you once again.